Hey guys, Mandy Ravicchio here. Welcome to this special webinar with Michael Hyatt, 7 Steps for Taking Control of 2017, How to Leverage Goal Setting to Design the Life You Want. For those of you who are just joining us, you are absolutely in the right place for the webinar with Michael Hyatt, and it is going to be a fantastic time today. Michael will be joining us in just a moment, but before he does, I wanted to get to know you guys a little bit. So find the chat window that you'll see on your control panel, jump in there, and let me know where you're joining us from today. I would love to know where you're joining us from. I would also love to know what is one major goal that you want to accomplish this coming year. If you could check one thing off your list, what would it be? Gosh, I'm seeing folks from Colorado, from London, from Illinois, from Michigan. Man, guys, wherever you're joining us from today, I just want to say welcome, welcome. You are absolutely in the right place. If you have never been on a webinar before, or if you've never done a webinar with Michael before, you are in for a treat. I know he has prepared an incredible session today to help get you ready for the new year. For those who've just joined us, welcome. You're in the right spot for the webinar with Michael, and we'll be starting in just a moment. But first, I'd love to get to know you. So find that chat window on your Q&A, the chat window on your control panel, and let us know where you're joining us from today. And also let us know what is one major goal that you want to accomplish this year. I'm seeing folks saying that they've got a goal to complete a marathon, to finish writing a book, to grow their business, get a new job. Guys, these are fantastic aspirations. And whatever goal it is that's brought you here today, I just want to assure you that Michael's content is going to be so helpful as you pursue that goal in the new year. Now, Michael's going to be joining us in just a moment, but I have a couple of quick announcements before he does. First, I wanted to let you guys know that if you haven't yet downloaded the special webinar workbook that Michael has prepared for this session, you'll want to do that right now before we begin. You can find it at bestyearever.me/workbook. You can download it, you can print it out, and it's going to help you pick up on all of the incredible insights that Michael shares during this session. Plus, it's going to serve as your own personal action plan so that you can implement everything you've learned today after the webinar is over. So again, head on over to bestyearever.me/workbook now to grab your copy of the workbook for today's session. I also wanted to let you guys know that we're having a contest for those of you who engage with us on Facebook today. All you have to do to be entered to win is head over to Michael's Facebook page at facebook.com/Michael Hyatt. You can look for the post shown here on your screen and comment with your answer to this question. What would finally being able to achieve your most important goals make possible for you? We would love to know if you could really achieve that big goal on your list this year. What would it make possible for you and for your family, for your business, and for the world? Let us know in the comments and you'll be entered for a chance to win. And you can share that post to your own Facebook page for 2 entries to win. We are going to be picking 2 lucky people who will win free VIP access to the 2017 edition of Michael's goal setting course, 5 days to your best year ever. It is a $400 value and it is yours completely free just for entering that contest. Again, we're going to pick 2 lucky winners. So make sure you do that now at Michael's Facebook page at facebook.com/Michael Hyatt. Now, for those of you who've just joined us, you are absolutely in the right place for the webinar with Michael Hyatt. And we're going to go ahead and officially get this party started. So I'm going to turn off my webcam and introduce you all to our speaker for today. Hey guys, Mandy Ravicchio here, Senior Content Creator with Michael Hyatt and Company. Welcome to this special webinar with Michael Hyatt, 7 Steps for Taking Control of 2017, How to Leverage Goal Setting to Design the Life You Want. Now, I'd love to start by asking you a question. Does this sound like you? You were busier than ever this year, but you're not sure what you really accomplished. Maybe you didn't achieve your biggest goals and you're feeling disappointed in yourself. You might even be wondering if goal setting is even worth the effort. Or perhaps you had a banner year and you accomplished so many great things, but you're not sure you can do it again because you're exhausted. In either case, you're struggling to find time for your most important priorities, and the urgent keeps crowding out what's most important. You've got a lot of dreams, but you're just not sure where to start, and you're afraid life might be passing you by. Well, if that sounds like you have absolutely come to the right place. And I want to introduce you to our instructor for this special webinar, Michael Hyatt. In case you don't know him, Michael is the author of Platform, Get Noticed in a Noisy World. It is a New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and USA Today bestseller, along with his latest USA Today and Wall Street Journal bestseller, Living Forward, a proven plan to stop drifting and get the life you want. Michael has spent most of his career in the world of book publishing, most recently as the chairman and CEO of Thomas Nelson Publishers, the seventh largest publisher in the US. When the company was sold to HarperCollins in 2011, Michael left his position to venture out on his own as a full-time author, speaker, and leadership coach. His blog, michaelhyatt.com, gets almost 1 million page views every month. And his podcast, This Is Your Life, is consistently in the iTunes Top 20 for business. Recently, Forbes magazine named him one of the top 10 online experts to follow. In fact, they said, if you only have time to follow one expert, Hyatt is our top pick. Michael has been married to his wife, Gail, for 38 years, and together they have 5 grown daughters. He also has 3 sons-in-law and 8 grandchildren. Now, listen, you've set aside the time to attend this webinar, so I want to encourage you to maximize this time by turning off the ringer on your phone, shutting down your email program, and eliminating as many distractions as possible so you can really focus. I promise you, Michael's content will be well worth it. And if you haven't yet downloaded the special webinar workbook that Michael has prepared, you'll want to do that now before we begin. You can find it at bestyourever.me/workbook, and it's going to help you pick up on all of the incredible insights that Michael shares during today's session. If you'd like to tweet about the webinar, please feel free to do so. We would absolutely love to connect with you. You can find Michael at Michael Hyatt, and I'm at Mandy_Riv. Please just use the hashtag #GoalControl so that we can interact with you there. We're also having a contest for those who engage with us on Facebook today. All you have to do to enter the contest is visit facebook.com/Michael Hyatt and look for the post shown here on your screen. Comment on that post with your answer to this question. What would finally being able to achieve your most important goals make possible for you? Just comment with your answer and share the post on your own page for 2 chances to win. We're going to pick 2 lucky people to win free VIP access to the 2017 edition of Michael's Goal Setting course, 5 Days to Your Best Year Ever. It's a $400 value, and all you have to do to enter is comment on that post and share the post on your own page. Now, finally, before I bring on Michael, if you have questions at any point during this webinar, please enter them in the Q&A box that you see on your control panel. Towards the end of this session, we'll be having a live Q&A where I'll ask Michael your questions, so be sure to ask them as you think of them. We're going to go ahead and disable the public chat feature now so that we can all focus on Michael's content. But the Q&A area is going to be active and available throughout the entire webinar. So please ask your questions there as you think of them, and we will get to as many as possible at the end of this webinar. Now, without any further ado, let me bring on our webinar instructor, Mr. Michael Hyatt.
Hey, Mandy. How you doing?
Hey, Michael. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Had a good night's rest, and I'm raring to go.
I'm so glad to hear it. Man, I am pumped to do this webinar.
Me too.
We have done this a few times already, and we have heard rave reviews. Everybody is loving this content.
Well, I think people are just naturally beginning to think about 2017 this time of year. And I think for most people, particularly high achievers that are on this webinar, people that follow me, people that follow other high achievers that we know of, they're kind of getting ready to go. They want to set themselves up for the best possible 2017, and they've come to the right place to do that.
That's absolutely true, Michael. We've got thousands of people on the line here with us, and they were sharing some of those goals with us before this webinar started. Things like writing books and getting new jobs and launching businesses. We have got some motivated high achievers on the line here, and I know you've got some great advice for them today.
Well, I was following along when those comments were appearing in chat, and they were flying by. But
Yeah.
Absolutely, they're in the right place. The truth is that I want to help you take those dreams, and some of you already started dreaming about what next year could be. I want to take those dreams and help you distill those down into goals so you can really accomplish them in 2017 and make this next year a truly remarkable year, one for the books that you never forget.
Well, that sounds amazing, Michael. I'm sure that all of us can't wait to dive in. So I'm going to go ahead, turn off my webcam here so that we can focus, and I will
All right.
see you for the Q&A.
Okay, I'm going to turn mine off too. So let me just click the right button there. Okay, cool. So, welcome again to today's webinar, 7 Steps to Taking Control of 2017, How to Leverage Goal Setting to Design the Life You Want. And I've got some incredible content. I can't wait to share it with you. And I've also got some incredible bonuses. Speaking of which, let's just start with the bonus. As my gift to you, just for participating in this webinar today, I want to give you my ebook, The Top 5 Mistakes You're Making in Goal Setting. And this will derail you if you don't know what these mistakes are. It'll keep you from getting the momentum you need, and it'll keep you stuck. So download this, again, at bestyouever.me/5 mistakes. You don't have to do it right now. Write down the URL, and you can do it a little bit later. In addition, as a thank you for staying on this webinar until the end. And by the way, we have thousands of people on this webinar. We're nearly maxed out, so you do not want to leave. You won't get back in if you leave. So as a thank you for staying on the webinar until the end, I'm going to give you 2 of my favorite resources for transforming your health in this coming year. First, 7 Steps to Extraordinary Health in 2017, a 1-week plan to restore, rejuvenate, and revitalize from my good friend, Dr. Josh Axe. And then Unleash Nature's Secret Success Weapon, my guide to leveraging the power of sleep to fuel your success. These are 2 of the most popular resources that we've ever released on the topic of health and fitness. And if you're like most people, when you begin to think about 2017, you're thinking about health and fitness. And these are both yours just for staying on with us until the end of the webinar. So make sure you stick around. Okay, so now back to today's topic. Here's what you're going to discover in today's webinar. First, 1 single strategy that will instantly make you 42% more likely to accomplish your goals. And honestly, it's shocking how many people miss it. And then how to quit-proof your goals to ensure that 2017 is the year you don't quit and the year you finally cross that big one off your list. And then a simple but powerful principle that will enable you to defeat procrastination once and for all. You'll also find out the secret to making it through the messy middle. You know what I'm talking about. When you've got too much invested to quit, but you're not quite sure you can finish. And then, surprisingly, why detailed action plans actually work against you, and an alternative that is so simple, you'll wonder why you haven't thought of it before. And then a simple, proven solution to ensure you never get overwhelmed or paralyzed by a big goal again. I want to help you punch procrastination in the face. Plus, you're also going to discover the common and seemingly positive goal setting strategy that's likely sabotaging your success and what to do instead. And then one of my favorite segments, 3 negative emotions that are actually positive indicators once you reframe them and will tell you that you're on the right path. Plus, clarity. This is so important. Clarity on your next steps toward accomplishing what matters most in 2017, and the courage you need to take action now. So let me start with a question. Have you ever felt stuck? Like you're spinning your wheels and you can't get any traction no matter how hard you try. Be honest. I mean, maybe it was a weight loss goal. You want to eat well, you want to exercise, you want to maintain a healthy weight, but somehow life seems tailor-made to sabotage your efforts. From the busy workload that makes you miss your gym time to the cake in the conference room, especially this time of year. Or perhaps it's a relationship goal. You really want a deeper level of intimacy with your spouse or your significant other or your kids. Maybe you had it once and you want to get back there again. Or maybe it's something new that you want to develop, but you keep getting derailed by other priorities. You worry that the people who matter most are getting the short end of the stick, and they probably are, but you're not exactly sure how to fix it. Or maybe it's a business goal. Maybe you have a dream of finally getting that promotion or launching that new business, or perhaps leading your existing business to a new level of success. But the economic climate makes you feel uncertain. You're not quite sure you're going to be able to make the kind of headway you want to make in 2017. Look, we've all experienced the disappointment that comes from setting a goal and then failing to achieve it. And we've all experienced the fear of trying again after so many failures. I know I have. So if you're cynical about setting a new round of goals for the new year, you're not alone. You're definitely not alone. But here's the flaw in the thinking, if I can point this out to you. Yes, if you set another round of goals, you may fail to achieve them. But here's the deal. You're guaranteed to fail if you don't try. Wayne Gretzky famously said this in a 1983 interview with Hockey News. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I want to say that again because I want it to sink in deep into your psyche. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Or to put it another way, you'll only achieve what you intentionally pursue. Yeah, it's true that there are a lot of factors that we can't control, but that's why it's even more essential that you take full responsibility for what you can control. And that's where goals come in. They are the key to identifying those factors you can control and making an intentional plan to make the most of them. And this is something I've learned in my own experience. For example, when I was the CEO of Thomas Nelson Publishers, we had more than 600 employees. I successfully led our company through the Great Recession, and it wasn't easy. And then later, through massive changes to our industry with the digitization of content and the arrival of social media, but we were able to emerge on top where the stakes were perilously high, but we made it through. And you know what? The key to our success was goals. Knowing how to identify what was in our control, create a specific action plan for each of those areas, and then accomplish big results through those goals, it became the defining factor that separated us from the other people who played the victims of our changing industry. Well, now I'm an entrepreneur, the owner of and CEO of a high-growth small business. And you know what? Staying focused on high leverage goals still determines our success year after year. It's true in every area of your life, not just business, but also your marriage and your health and really every area of your life. The fastest way to lose the game is to get discouraged by what you can't control. And the fastest way to win, conversely, is to set meaningful goals in areas that you can control and then get busy achieving them. So in Stephen Covey's leadership classic, most of you have probably read this, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And if you haven't, it should be on your reading list for 2017. But he summarizes this with this diagram. The outer circle is something he calls the circle of concern. And these are the things that you worry about, but which you don't really have a lot of control over, like the economy or politics or world affairs. The inner circle is the circle of influence. These are the things over which you do have influence, maybe even total control, but things like your behaviors, your family, your business, or your health. And this circle encompasses those areas in which you have the power to create meaningful change. Now, when you focus on your circle of concern, guess what happens? You have less energy and less attention to devote to your circle of influence. It takes up all your thinking and emotional ability, and your ability to influence your life is thereby reduced. But when you focus on those things you can influence or control, you expend your energy on only what is effective, and your circle of influence expands. The bottom line is this: you have agency. You have the power to keep your life and your business moving forward, no matter what is going on in the world around you. You just need a strategy to set and achieve high impact goals. And that's why in this webinar, I'm going to outline 7 simple steps to conquer your biggest goals in 2017. It really is possible, really, to get to the end of this next year, 2017, feeling like you've won the game. And today, I'm going to show you how. So let's get started. One of the most commonly asked questions about goal setting is this: what goals should I set? Well, the key to answering that question is step number one. Clarify your priorities. And the easiest way to get clear on your own priorities is to begin with the end in mind. Another lesson that I learned from Dr. Stephen Covey. So ask yourself these questions. At the end of my life, what will I want to have achieved? There are things probably that you might achieve but aren't that important. But what are the things you're dreaming about? What are the things that when you get to the end of your life, you want to be able to look back and say, wow, I'm proud of what I accomplished? Or here's a second question. What will I regret not doing? If you look at some of those studies that have been done with people at the end of life and they're asked on their deathbed, would they do anything different? They really talk about their regrets, the things that they wish they'd had the courage to do or the clarity to do, but they didn't have either, and they didn't do either one of them. So then what will matter most to me? What's going to matter at the end of your life? My guess is it's probably going to be things like your health, your most important relationships, maybe making a contribution to the world and having an impact on people, whatever it is. But clarifying your priorities will help you avoid one of the most common goal-setting mistakes of all, which is tunnel vision. It's easy. I've done it myself. When setting goals to get tunnel vision and focus on only one aspect of our lives. I mean, how many times, for example, have you made a list of 10 goals you want to achieve in your business without considering your health or your most important relationships? But here's the deal. The truth is that we're interconnected beings. Your relationships at home impact the focus and the engagement you bring to your business. Your physical health impacts the energy you have at work or even to pursue meaningful relationships or an aspirational project like writing a book. So in order to be effective, our goals need to address all the major aspects of life. Now, this is a model that Daniel Harkavy, my co-author of Living Forward, that I introduced in that book. It's something we call the circles of life. So to ensure our goals represent all the main areas, it's helpful to think through these three circles of life. First of all, there's the circle of being. This is us in relationship to ourselves: spiritual, physical, emotional, and intellectual. Then there's the circle of relating, us in relationship to other people. Our marital lives, if we happen to be married, our social lives with our friends and our community, our parental life if we have children. Then there's the circle of doing, our vocational life, what we do for a living, what is our principal calling, or our financial life, or our avocational, not what we do for a living, but the things that we do because we love them, our hobbies. And you're going to want to make sure that your goals address your priorities within each of these three circles. Now, you don't have to have a goal for each of these 10 domains, but you need to be thinking carefully about having a balance between your personal and your professional life. So to help you evaluate your progress in each of these areas, I created something called the Life Score Assessment. My guess is that thousands of you on this webinar, maybe hundreds, have taken the Life Score Assessment because we've been promoting it for a couple of weeks. But get this, it's a free online self-assessment tool that's been newly redesigned for this year. We first introduced it last year. We completely overhauled it, put it online. But in just a few minutes, actually about 10 minutes, it'll give you the clarity that you need about your progress overall and in each of the 10 domains of life so that you can focus on where you need some help and attention in 2017. So if you haven't already, I would highly encourage you to take this assessment, and you can do it for free at bestyourever.me/lifescore. Don't do it now. It's going to take you about 10 minutes, but do this after the webinar. Now, that brings us to our first action item. List 7 to 10 of your top priorities. And you could reference the Life Score Assessment domains or the three circles of life, either one. Just make sure you reflect both personal and professional priorities in your list. Okay, so now on to step 2. Write strong goals. And I want to emphasize the word strong. This step will address the commonly asked question, how should I state my goals? Now, I know stating your goal in the correct way is not everything, but it's where you got to start. Because if you don't do this right, you're going to kind of set yourself up for failure and for a harder challenge that it really needs to be. And there are several key qualities that differentiate strong goals from weak goals. And I want to cover four of them in this step. First, your goals must be written down. Now, maybe that's intuitively obvious to you. This is something most people know, but honestly, few people really practice. When I speak on goal setting, I often ask the audience to raise their hand if they believe they're more likely to achieve their goals if they write them down. And as you can imagine, almost every hand in the audience goes up. I mean, who could disagree with that? But then I ask how many people present have a written list of goals for the current year that they're actively pursuing. Generally, every hand in the audience goes down with the exception of about 5 to 10% of the audience. Research, though, shows that written goals are far more likely to be achieved. Dr. Gail Matthews, a psychology professor at Dominican University of California, conducted a study involving 267 participants. And among other things, she discovered that you're 42% more likely to achieve your goals. How? Just by writing them down. I mean, how simple is that? But maybe the question is this: why is this simple act of writing down your goals so important? Well, I think it comes down to the fact that writing helps you get clarity. And here's why. Thoughts disentangle themselves, passing over the lips and through pencil tips. When you force yourself to write it down, you force yourself to get clear on what it is that you want. But there's more. It also transforms a vague intention into a concrete goal. And there is a world of difference between an intention and a goal. As Albert Schleiter says, we tend to judge others by their behavior and ourselves by our intentions. But your intentions aren't going to change your life. They're not going to change your family or your business or the world around you if you don't learn to translate them into actions. A piece of paper is more permanent and concrete than a thought. And that's why putting your goals in writing will help you begin to make them a reality. So again, the first quality of strong goals is that they must be written down. The second is that they're specific. So let me give you an example. You might be tempted to write down increase revenue. If you're a small business owner, or even if you're running a large corporation, or you're a sales manager or a salesperson, this might be an aspiration for 2017. You want to increase revenue. But once you've written that down, what's your next step? How exactly would you go about increasing your revenue? But if instead you wrote down something specific, like line up 5 additional elite coaching clients, bam, now all of a sudden you know exactly how to get started. That specificity gives you even more clarity about what you want. Specificity matters because it makes our aspirations actionable. And that's what makes it possible to actively accomplish them rather than to just kind of wait passively for them as we might for a dream to come to pass. The bottom line is that dreams may be imaginable, but goals are actionable. Now, the third quality of strong goals is that they're also measurable. So in addition to being written down, in addition to being specific, they need to be measurable. As the old adage says, you can't manage what you can't or don't measure. The only way to know if you've achieved a goal is to quantify it. So let's review an example of a measurable goal. You might be tempted to write down, as you think about 2017, especially after all the food at the holidays, lose weight. In fact, millions of people will have this as their New Year's resolution or maybe even a goal for this next year. But again, it's not specific enough. It's also not measurable. How will you know if you achieved it? If you lose 2 pounds, did you accomplish it? Or is it 20 pounds or 50 pounds? A better example would be lose 35 pounds. It's specific, it's concrete, and it's measurable. When in doubt, assign a number or a percentage to each goal. It's an easy way to ensure your goals are measurable. You want to know absolutely, positively, whether or not you hit the goal. That's why measurability matters so much. The fourth quality of strong goals is that they're time keyed. This means that they have a firm deadline. Deadlines are so important, and here's why. One of the biggest productivity secrets I've discovered is that tasks expand to the amount of time allotted for them. This is called Parkinson's Law. You're probably familiar with it, but it doesn't apply just to productivity. The same is true for goals. If you don't create a fixed period of time for achieving your goal, you're going to find yourself pursuing it half-heartedly, maybe for years, because there's no deadline. You can always do it tomorrow. Now, there are three major benefits to setting a deadline. First, deadlines create a sense of urgency. I mean, how many times have you gone to work with the intention to work on something really important and been derailed by the urgent, the tyranny of the urgent? It often crowds out the important. So let's make that work for us. Let's create some urgency on what we know to be important, our goals, by putting a deadline on it. Number two, deadlines balance your workload. Everything that's going to be on your goal list for 2017 is important by definition. You've thought about it. This is stuff you really want. You've got the clarity, but it's not all important now. If you try to pursue 7 to 10 things now, you're going to feel overwhelmed. But with a deadline, you can balance it out over the year so that all the deadlines don't happen at once. Deadlines also help you prioritize your daily tasks so that you've got the important items with a deadline clearly identified on your daily task list, so you know you're making systematic, incremental progress on your most important goals. So here's an example. Rather than just writing lose 35 pounds, which by the way is specific and measurable, it's got that going for it, you're also going to want to add a deadline. Very simple, but few people do it. Lose 35 pounds by June the 1st. It's that easy. So again, strong goals are written down, they're specific, they're measurable, and they're time keyed. So here's your action item for step 2. Write down 7 to 10 strong goals. Now, our next step addresses another common question, and I love this. How challenging should I make my goals? Maybe you've wondered in the past, should I make my goal harder or easier? If that's you, you're going to want to pay attention to step 3. Aim for discomfort. Maybe that's a little bit surprising, maybe even shocking, but the sad fact is that most people spend the majority of their lives inside the comfort zone. And here's the problem with that. Nothing great ever happens inside the comfort zone. That's where you process email, or you attend yet another meeting, or you make a phone call, or you go shopping or running errands. That's all stuff that happens in the comfort zone, and it's really comfortable. But grand adventures, breakthrough results, incredible achievements, those live someplace else. Or to put it another way, if your dreams are inside your comfort zone, they're not really dreams. I mean, you don't go to bed at night dreaming about more email to process or another meeting to attend, right? If you're after greatness, you're going to have to go beyond the point of comfort to get what you really want. And here's how I think about it. I found there are 3 different zones that can exist when it comes to pursuing goals. Your goal could reside in either of these 3 zones. First of all, there's the comfort zone. That's what we've been talking about, where it's easy and well comfortable. When you set no-brainer goals, you're settling for the comfort zone. And you're also setting yourself up for failure, and more about that in a minute. On the other end, there's the delusional zone. These are goals that are so unrealistic that our efforts would be wasted, or they would require so much of us that we would have to neglect the rest of our life to achieve them. So for example, if I decided that I wanted to play on the senior PGA Tour, which is a golf championship, that would be delusional. And anybody that's played golf with me would know that. I'm not that great a golfer. Where we actually want to be is somewhere in the middle, in the discomfort zone. Again, I know it sounds counterintuitive because it's inherently uncomfortable and we shrink back from discomfort. But the discomfort zone, if you think about it, is the only place where achieving greatness is possible. That's where the answers to your prayers reside. That's where breakthrough results reside. That's where the things that you really want most find themselves. It's a little bit similar to long distance archery. When you're shooting or practicing archery to long distance, It's natural to assume that you should aim for the center of the target, right? Obviously, if you aim way too high, your arrow is going to fly over the target and you're going to miss it completely. But if you aim below the bullseye, you're definitely going to fall short. Your arrow's going to land in the dirt. So maybe we should just aim for the middle. Surprisingly, no. Aiming for the bullseye doesn't take into account the resistance, the effects of wind and gravity that are working against you. And that's why if you aim for the comfortable middle, you're also going to fall short. The key is to aim just above the target, allowing for wind and gravity. That's your best shot of hitting the bullseye. Well, the same is true when it comes to setting goals. If you aim for the delusional zone, you set your sights hopelessly high. But if you only aim for a comfortable goal, ignoring the fact that there's going to be some resistance, you're sure to fall short. Aiming for the discomfort zone is your best bet for achieving the results you want. One of the biggest things that pushes us back, though, into our comfort zones when we're setting goals is that we tend to get hit with some really negative emotions as soon as we start entering the discomfort zone. It's almost like crashing the sound barrier. When you go that fast and you try to go faster, you're going to punch through the sound barrier and it's going to be uncomfortable. Same is true here. Specifically, there are 3 negative emotions you're going to hit every time you're transitioning into the discomfort zone. So don't be surprised when you experience these. Emotion number 1, fear. You think, oh my gosh, I've never done this before. I'm afraid I might fail. I might be publicly humiliated. Maybe you failed before. Like I went through a business failure in the early 90s. And when I started thinking about launching out of the corporate world and trying to do that again, I felt incredibly fearful. And that's normal. Or then there's emotion number 2, uncertainty. You start to worry, I'm not sure I can see the path. I don't know how to get there. Well, obviously, because you've never done it before, so the path shouldn't be clear. And then emotion number 3, doubt. You think, I'm not sure I've got the resources. I don't have the right experience or the right education or the right contacts, the right resources. I don't know if I have what it takes to succeed in the pursuit of this goal. But again, these seemingly negative emotions, if you can reframe them in your mind, are actually positive indicators. The cure is just what I said, to reframe those emotions in your mind. We've got to learn to see them as signposts that we're on the right path. We're doing something better, something more demanding, something more challenging than we've ever done before. And we're right where we want to be, in the discomfort zone. So let those be markers that indicate you're exactly where you need to be. And by the way, I experience these negative emotions every time I set goals, especially when they're in the discomfort zone. So for example, this past year, I wanted to secure a 7-figure royalty advance and sign a new book contract. This was a big deal and it was frightening. I definitely experienced some doubt about it, but I wound up achieving an even higher royalty advance than I'd aimed for. That was the publishing prospectus that we sent out to publishers. I also wanted to launch a new productivity course at a premium price. This was like going to be my signature course. I had a lot of uncertainty about being able to deliver enough value, self-doubt, in order to justify the $1,000 price tag of that course. But get this, we successfully launched that course in September of 2016. We got hundreds and hundreds of emails from happy customers who got extraordinary results with the course. They didn't question the value of it at all. I also aimed, and this was probably the scariest of all, to put my new book, Living Forward, the one I wrote with Daniel Harkavy, on the New York Times bestseller list. This was frightening. I've been on the New York Times list twice before with 2 different books, but it's never certain. It's always scary because they keep chasing the formula and you're never certain you can get it. And the reality is, in this case, even though I worked hard, Daniel worked hard, both our teams worked hard, we didn't achieve that goal. But you know what? That's okay. Because if I hadn't aimed so high, the book wouldn't have landed as it did on the Wall Street Journal, the USA Today, or the Publishers Weekly bestseller list. That made it all worthwhile because it created visibility so that tens of thousands of people who wouldn't have discovered the book otherwise were introduced to it for the first time. So here's your action item. Make sure that each of the goals that you set in the last step are in the discomfort zone. Okay? Now on to step 4. Identify your why. So few people do this, but the step is vital. And here's why. Many of us are asking, how can I stay motivated? We all worry about our motivation giving out. It's easy to have passion and enthusiasm when you first start pursuing a goal, but for many of us, that motivation wanes as the year goes on. So, for example, I know that when I go to the gym, which I go 5 days a week, when I go to the gym right after the first of the year, it's going to be a struggle to find a parking place. Why? Because everybody and their brother and possibly their sister has decided that they're going to get in shape in 2017. So the gym is crowded. You can hardly move. But if I just wait 4 to 6 weeks, the herd's going to thin and there are going to be plenty of parking spaces. Now, the reason this usually happens is because we've set a goal that isn't compelling, a goal that doesn't move us. And the truth is, no one perseveres, no one maintains motivation unless they really, truly care about the goal. So to maximize our persistence, we have to pursue goals that really matter to us. Think about parenting or getting fit or hitting a major professional goal. All these challenges are going to test our perseverance. And it's not enough to pursue something because it's important to somebody else. It may be important to your boss or your spouse, or it may be expected culturally, but if it's not important to you, if you don't know your why, if you haven't connected with what's at stake, you are not going to finish strong. As my wife Gail often reminds me, people lose their way when they lose their why. So you've got to ask yourself, why does it matter? If you don't have a clear, compelling answer to that question, there's no way you're going to have the conviction you need to stick it out through the messy middle. When you pursue a meaningful goal, it's exhilarating. When you accomplish a meaningful goal, it's also exhilarating, but you'll always short circuit if you choose a goal that's not meaningful to you. So there are 4 attributes of compelling goals. First of all, compelling goals are spiritually meaningful. And by that, I don't mean merely that somehow you associate this goal with accomplishing God's will. I mean, it's great if you can do that. If you're a person of faith, fantastic. In fact, I would consider, how does this fit into God's plan for your life? But if you're not spiritual, here's all I mean. Is it connected to a larger why? So for example, one year I had the goal of running the Music City Half Marathon. First time I ever did it. It was important to finish, but here's why. Because I was raising money for a small school just outside of not too far from where I live. And so at some point when I wanted to quit, I was running for a larger story. I was running for those kids and helping them with their tuition. Here's another way that they can be compelling, is that if they're intellectually stimulating, if they require mental focus, if it's like a puzzle that you intellectually have to figure out, that can also make it compelling. Or emotionally energizing, just something that when you think about it, it makes you smile. It gives you great joy. Or maybe it's physically challenging. I mean, think about this. So many people run half marathons and these long, crazy endurance races. Why? Because they find that compelling because it's physically challenging. So if you're not hitting at least one of these criteria, you're setting yourself up to fail because they've got to be compelling. So I want you to take a moment when you set your goals, not now, but later, to list 3 reasons why each goal you set matters. And again, matters to you. It'll give you the energy you need to stick with your goals through the messy middle. Now, I'm sure that many of you are also wondering, how can I avoid overwhelm? This is one of the most common obstacles that keeps people from winning with their biggest goals. They just get overwhelmed and then they procrastinate and then they quit. In fact, I recently polled the VIP users of the 2016 edition of my goal setting course, 5 Days to Your Best Year Ever, about the biggest hang-ups that derail their goals in the past. And you know what the response was? Number 1, overwhelm. And here's a fact. When we try to do many things at once, we accomplish nothing. And that's why step 5 is so important. You've got to narrow your focus. And I know how tough this can be. When we get down to the business of improving our lives, a lot of things come to mind that could use some work. We start getting excited about the possibility of what our life could be. And that's why it's tempting to set a ton of goals. But productivity studies show over and over again that you really can't focus on more than 7 to 10 items at any one time. So when we jot down 25 things we hope to accomplish in 2017, we're really shooting ourselves in the foot. We're sabotaging our own aspirations. Well, the same is true when we try to cheat the system by including sections and subsections with several goals under each section. For example, let's say we set a vague goal to get healthy, and then we include a list of sub-goals, including lose weight, drink more water, get more sleep, work out 4 times a week, eat better, sit less, cut fast food, get a personal trainer. Whew. Just reading that list makes me feel overwhelmed. And this is a recipe for being overwhelmed. By the time you've got 10 of these complicated lists competing for your attention, it's no wonder you lose focus and accomplish very little. As the ancient Chinese proverb says, man who chases 2 rabbits catches neither. The cure is to get crystal clear on your most important priorities, set a goal for each of those, and then pursue them with laser focus. You want to focus on a handful of goals that you can repeat almost from memory. My rule of thumb is that you should set 7 to 10 goals for the year. However, my most transformative practice has been narrowing my focus even further. And I originally picked this idea up when I read The 4 Disciplines of Execution by Sean Covey, Chris McChesney, and Jim Huling. I highly recommend it. The idea is that you choose a maximum of 2 or 3 critical goals to focus on per quarter. The authors call these wildly important goals, or the acronym WIGS, but 2 to 3 critical goals to focus on per quarter. It's the same concept my friend Greg McKeown describes and illustrates with this helpful chart in his book, Essentialism. Focused effort in one direction is more powerful than scattered effort in many directions. By getting laser focused on just a few goals, you're able to make massive headway quickly rather than incremental progress slowly. So set 7 to 10 goals, but choose just 2 or 3 to focus on at first. Once those are accomplished, then you move on to the others. And that's your action item. Choose just 2 or 3 goals that you'll focus on first. Now, once you've got a focused list of goals, your next question is probably, how do I get started? And the answer is step 6, determine next steps. The biggest obstacle that you and I face to getting started and to achieving the biggest goals that we have for our lives is procrastination. I've mentioned it before, but it's easy to put things off when you feel overwhelmed. And to the extent that the project is something big, something you've never attempted before, it's easy to push the pause button and just not start or to delay starting. But high achievers know that procrastination is the real enemy. It's keeping them from getting what they want. And they've learned that excessive planning is often a fancy way to procrastinate. Some of you are prone to this, and I'm on to you because I've done this in the past too. This is why high achievers break projects down into bite-sized pieces. Look, it's important to set goals, but that's not enough. Eventually, you've got to lace up your shoes and get on the trail if you have any hope of achieving the goal. And that's how it is for you. If you want to achieve big things in 2017, you've got to start. And if you want to start, you got to chunk it down so there's a bite-sized piece that you can actually accomplish, usually in less than a day or at the most a few days. Now, if your goal is in the discomfort zone, now listen to me carefully. This is an important concept to grasp. Your next step must be in the comfort zone. In other words, it's got to be so easy that it's like, doesn't require that much effort to do. Like maybe it's an email that you need to send, or a phone call that you need to make, or a meeting you need to set up, but something that moves you along the path in the pursuit of that goal that's in the discomfort zone. High achievers focus on the next step. They don't get distracted by trying to figure out the whole path. High achievers know the path becomes clear only when they're in motion. I mean, if this is something in the discomfort zone, you might know the destination, but you will likely not know the path to get there. I remember when I signed the contract for my first book. It was total elation. I was so excited about it. I couldn't believe that a publisher was taking a chance on it, was paying me a little bit of money to write the book. But then within about 5 minutes, I got overwhelmed because I had no idea how to do this. I'd never done it before. And so I had to get myself in motion. So the first thing I did was I set up a folder on my hard drive and I set up a file for each of the chapters that I was going to write. Something that was inside of my comfort zone. That's where the next step had to be, even though the goal was totally in my discomfort zone. But as Zig Ziglar said, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. I love that quote. Trying to figure out the complete process that you're going to use to accomplish something that you've never even done before is going to leave you paralyzed if you're not careful. Focusing on the next right step is the key to starting or initiating or reclaiming forward momentum. Remember, the most important step is always the next step. So here's your action item. Identify one next action step for each goal. Don't overthink this. Don't create this elaborate, excessive plan. Now, if you're building a nuclear submarine, you have my permission to do that. But for most of us, with our goals for 2017, it's overkill. Just identify one next action step for each goal. That should get you moving with each of your goals. But down the road, you may find yourself wondering, how can I maintain momentum? Okay, I've started it, but how do I maintain it? The answer is in our final step. Step number 7, track your progress. One of the most lethal mistakes that people make with goal setting is failing to keep their goals visible. It's happened to me. It's probably happened to you. Think about it. How many times have you written down a set of goals and never looked at them again? Well, I've done it plenty of times. And that's why you need a plan to keep them visible, whether that means reviewing them daily or weekly or at some other regular interval. Like the old adage goes, out of sight, out of mind. Think about how many times or how many things demand your attention each day. If you only offer your goals the time, attention, and focus that you've got left over at the end of a busy day, you're never going to make meaningful progress. That's why we need a clear plan to keep our goals visible. I remember when I was writing Platform, Get Noticed in a Noisy World, I literally read my goal out loud at the beginning of each day. I also reviewed what it was at stake. I tried to exercise faith by visualizing the goal as if it were completed, and reconnecting to the dream and why it was important took the tedium out of daily writing. It gave me purpose and meaning. And most importantly, it kept me going when I wanted to quit, which happened, I assure you, several times. Well, now I keep a framed list of goals, just like this one, on the wall in my office. In fact, it's hanging to the right. The bottom line is that your goals have to stay in sight in order to stay in mind. So determine, how are you going to track your goals? That's your action item. How will you track your goals? This is perhaps the most critical of all these steps to ensure your success. And I have an incredibly powerful tool to help you do just that. It's my comprehensive Evernote goal tracking system. This is my customized solution. I developed it for myself to track my own goals all year long using my favorite free tool, Evernote. And I'll tell you in just a bit how you can get a copy for free. So make sure to stay tuned. But let's recap. Today, we've covered 7 steps for taking control of 2017. Step 1, clarify your priorities. What are the areas that need your attention in 2017? Step 2, write strong goals. And I gave you 4 qualities or attributes of strong goals. Step 3, aim for discomfort. Don't be in the delusion zone. Don't be in the comfort zone. Aim for discomfort. Step 4, identify your why. So critical in order to stay motivated. Step 5, narrow your focus. 7 to 10 goals, and don't cheat by using sub-goals. Step 6, determine your next steps. Don't overplan, but determine your next step. And then step number 7, track your progress. The truth is, no matter what's going on around you, a new year, 2017, is a brand new opportunity. It hasn't happened yet. It's like a blank canvas. And as we learned earlier when we talked about the circle of influence, the most important things are yours to improve. The most important things in life are in your control. And I know it's easy to get discouraged or maybe anxious about this new year when you're focused on things that are beyond your control. But if you'll focus on those areas where you have influence, you have the opportunity to create a truly incredible year. So I'd like to take just a moment to imagine what a win would look like for you in 2017. Imagine what it would be like if you took control of this next year and reached December the 31st, knowing that you had accomplished what matters most. What would it be like, for example, to be in the best shape of your life? What if you could lose those extra pounds, whether it's 20 pounds or 70 pounds? Imagine yourself 1 year from now pulling on the jeans that you're wearing right now and they don't fit because you're swimming in them. I mean, how awesome would that feel? Or what would it be like to get to the end of 2017 having finished a couple dozen books? Think of the new ideas that would have been unleashed in your mind, or think about how much more valuable you would be to your business, or think how much more interesting you would be in social settings. Or what would it be like to really take your most significant relationship to the next level? Imagine a level of intimacy that you've never known before. Imagine a relationship where you couldn't wait to spend time with your spouse or significant other. Imagine knowing and being known, understanding and being understood with someone who shared your most important priorities, your most significant goals, and offered you the encouragement and the support that others only dream of. Or what would it be like to have money left over at the end of the month? Now, there's a concept. Think what it would be like to be debt-free, owing nothing to anyone. Or what would it be like to have the money you need to meet your expenses, protect yourself against the unexpected, and invest for the future? Or think how satisfying it would be to give your family the things that they want and deserve. So let's go back to the very beginning when you decided to register for this webinar. By the way, why did you decide to attend? Well, I'll bet it was for one of the following reasons. You want to live a life that matters and reach your potential. That's why you signed up for this to begin with. But you also acknowledge that there's just too much to do, too little time, and the important things, unfortunately, are falling through the cracks. You know deep in your heart that you're capable of more, but it just feels like time is running out. And you don't just want to survive, you want to make meaningful progress towards something that matters. There was a reason why you were attracted to this webinar, why you were motivated to register, took the trouble to show up, and why you're still here. It's a clue. And look, whether you're a spiritual person or not, I think you've got to admit it's interesting how things tend to show up right when we seem to need them. Well, I think this is one of those moments. There's something big in your future, something big in 2017, but now you're at a crossroads and you've got to decide what you're going to do now. And the way I see it, when you think about 2017 and setting goals and creating a different reality, you've got three choices. First of all, you could just give up and assume things will never change. And if you're a little bit cynical, you may already be thinking that, I've tried this before. There's no sense setting goals. I think I'm just going to quit altogether. Or number two, you could continue to go it alone, hoping to get better results. You've probably done this in the past and you're going to try to do it again. And this time you hope you get better results. But like, I think it was Einstein that said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, hoping to get a different result. Or number three, you can let me help you to get better results by using a proven system. And it really comes down to this question. Do you really have the time to figure it out on your own? What's the lost opportunity cost of putting your life and your dreams on hold for another year and not achieving your goals? And I understand how hard it can be. I face the same challenges you face today, including the overwhelming demands of a large family. I've got 5 daughters, 8 grandchildren, a growing career that never sees time to leave time for anything else. But here's the bottom line, and I want you to understand this. It's not your fault. It's not your fault that you've tried and failed to set goals or that you keep getting derailed. The process, traditional goal setting, is simply broken. And what you need is a better way. And that's exactly why I developed my course, 5 Days to Your Best Year Ever. I leveraged all of my experience and relationships to extract exactly what you need to reach your potential in 2017. It's not just about setting goals for next year. It is that, but it's more. It's about discovering a powerful system, a process for identifying the right goals and then using a proven plan to actually accomplish them. But first, before I tell you about the course, I want to remind you again about the special bonus I have for you today. As a thank you for staying on this webinar until the end, I'll give you two of my favorite resources for transforming your health in the coming year. 7 Steps to Extraordinary Health in 2017 from my buddy, Dr. Josh Axe, and Unleash Nature's Secret Success Weapon, my guide to leveraging the power of sleep to fuel your success. Again, these are two of the most popular resources we've ever released, and they're all yours for just staying with us for a few more minutes until the end of the webinar. So make sure you stick around. And we've also got our Q&A coming up soon, where I'll be answering your specific questions about goal setting. So if you have any questions, send them over to us in the questions area. My staff is working behind the scenes, and they're collecting them so that Mandy and I can get to as many of them as we can at the end of the webinar. So what is 5 Days to Your Best Year Ever? Honestly, I believe it's the only goal-setting course you'll ever need. It's designed to guide you step by step through the process of designing your best year ever. And it takes, get this, just 45 minutes a day for 5 days or 1 half-day session. So many people have told us this is the only online course that they've actually ever completed. But it's designed to give you the clarity, the courage, and the commitment you need to finally achieve your biggest dreams. I introduced the course 3 years ago, and since that time, we've had more than 17,000 happy customers go through it. People like Lee Radford, who at the age of 46 ran his first 10K. Lee sent us this photo along with a note that read, "I've been training since January and staying on track because of Best Year Ever principles. Thanks to Michael and this community for inspiring me." There's also Kim Gowdy, who just published her first book. Yay, Kim. And she said, "Thank you for your encouragement and support. It's definitely been my best year ever." I also love the results that Ray Edwards experienced. Ray says, "Since doing the Best Year Ever program 12 months ago, I've eliminated over $400,000 of debt, restructured my business to serve me, my family, and my customers better, been able to give more to our church, and lost over 53 pounds of fat." Now, if that doesn't qualify as the best year ever, I don't know what does. And I probably should say those results aren't typical. I mean, they're extraordinary, but it shows you what's possible. And Ray went on to say, quote, "That weight loss goal has been on my list every year for the last 15 years. And every year I have failed until now," end quote. Thousands of people have gotten big results by applying the transformative content in this course to their lives, and you will too. Here's a quick inside look at the kind of content that you can expect. In video 1, I share 3 truths about the future that you must embrace if you're going to design your best year ever. Specifically, I talk, this is so important, about your limiting beliefs and how they are keeping you stuck. I talk about the power of clarity and why it's more important than strategy or resources. In fact, if you've got clarity, you'll find the right strategy and you'll attract the right resources. I talk about why you won't get more of what you want until you learn to be thankful for what you have. Then in video 2, I share 8 powerful questions to ask about last year. This special after action review is designed to help you process your experiences and ensure that they don't hold you back in 2017. Specifically, I talk about why you need to deal with disappointments, regrets, and losses so they don't sabotage your success this next year. I talk about how to distill the major lessons of this past year so you don't end up repeating them again next year, and why your greatest area of frustration may just be your greatest opportunity in this coming year. In video 3, I share exactly how to turn vague aspirations and dreams into powerful, compelling goals. And I do this by diving into the 4 goal-setting habits that high achievers employ to accomplish their biggest goals. Specifically, I talk about 3 ways to triple the likelihood of achieving your goals. I talk about the science that proves your goals should be bigger, not smaller. And this is very compelling, and all the research is consistent. I share my re-engineered, smarter framework backed by the latest goal achievement research to help you get unbelievable results. Then in video 4, I share how you can identify your why and unleash a powerful source of personal motivation by taking 5 specific actions. We'll talk about, for example, why you must connect with your goals intellectually and, perhaps more importantly, emotionally. How to keep your motivations present to your thinking so they energize you to finish when you're tempted to quit. And then the difference between attainment goals and habit goals, plus how the 2 can work together and fuel each other. And then in video 5, I address the most important topic. As it turns out, identifying the goal is only half the job. And in this video, I share 12 steps that'll empower you to take definitive action now, build momentum, and harness the power of incremental change over time. Specifically, I talk about 1 word that you must absolutely, positively eliminate from your vocabulary to make steady progress. I talk about how to make sure the urgent doesn't crowd out the important. And all of us are familiar with that concept and how it derails our days. And then I talk about a simple hack for getting unstuck when you don't know what to do next. Now, here's how I deliver the content. First of all, there are 5 separate videos, 1 for each day. And we include a complete transcript of the video and a workbook for each day with exercises designed to help you apply what you learn. And we've pulled out all the stops to help you win big with your goals this next year, including making the workbook more implementation oriented than ever before. I'm determined to see you get great results. Now, the transcript and the workbook are delivered via PDA. We even provide an audio version of the daily video if you prefer to listen at the gym or on your commute, or you just want to review the content of the daily video. And then the great news is that all of this is delivered digitally. No shipping costs, you get immediate access, and you can access it anywhere in the world where you have an internet connection. And by the way, the site is totally responsive. And all that means is that you can access it on any device. We've optimized it for desktop, iPads, iPhones, and Android devices. Maybe you're wondering, who is the course really for? Well, honestly, almost everyone. Entrepreneurs, including small business owners, corporate executives, including CEOs, CFOs, C-suite executives, and mid-level managers, ministry leaders. We've had thousands of ministry leaders go through the course, including pastors, church staff, denominational executives, or anyone working in a nonprofit or a volunteer organization. Public servants, including elected officials, political appointees, and military personnel. Educators, including administrators, deans, principals, professors, teachers, even homeschooling parents. And students, including those in high school, college, or even graduate students. And by the way, it's even appropriate for stay-at-home moms or dads. In short, who is the course for? Anyone who wants to make 2017 their best year ever, whether in their professional life, their personal life, or hopefully both. Now, I know you're busy, which means you're probably wondering, how much time is this really going to take? Well, the answer is not much time at all. I intentionally designed it that way. You can complete 5 days to your best year ever in just 45 minutes per day for 5 days. I used to do this back when I first started in that week between Christmas and New Year's. I'd find 5 days and I'd work on this for 45 minutes to an hour each day, and then I would have my plan. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. You can do this in a single half-day session. That's how I'm doing it this year. Gail and I are sitting down this coming Saturday, and we'll work out our goals for 2017. That's it. Now, Best Year Ever is available in 3 different editions. Best Year Ever Live, Best Year Ever VIP, and then Independent Study. Now, all 3 editions include the 5 course modules, the audio downloads of each lesson video, complete course transcripts, the downloadable workbook and action plan, and a 30-day money-back guarantee, which I'll tell you more about in just a minute, but we've tried to take all the risk out of this. So what's the difference between the three editions? Well, I want to start with the Best Year Ever Live edition. This is something I've been dreaming about for 4 years. It's truly the ultimate way to experience the course. It includes one VIP ticket to my live 5 days to your best year ever goal setting intensive on January 4th and 5th in Nashville, Tennessee. This intensive is a brand new offering that I've designed specifically for highly motivated achievers who are determined to make the most of 2017 and want an edge in making that happen. During this event, I'll personally walk you through the Best Year Ever course curriculum. I'll coach you through setting your own goals, and I'll teach you how to avoid the most common pitfalls. And there are 3 reasons why you should seriously consider Best Year Ever Live. First, personal instruction. You're going to receive hands-on coaching from me and my team to ensure you leave the intensive with a bulletproof success plan for 2017. And in order to ensure that you get the personal attention you need from me and my staff, this is going to be a limited opportunity event available only to a few hundred high achievers. That's it. And with the thousands of members who are joining Best Year Ever right now during our open registration period, and for the 17,000 alumni who have gone through the course, these seats are going to fill up fast. In fact, they're filling up fast right now. But secondly, you'll experience, and this is one of my favorites, accelerated implementation. Look, I get it. One of the biggest things that stops all of us from pursuing meaningful goals is that we're busy. We have a difficult time finding time to do the planning. And that's why I've designed Best Year Ever Live for get it done high achievers who want to see the biggest results from the least time invested. So my team and I will walk you through the entire Best Year Ever framework in just a day and a half. Really, in less than 2 days, you'll come up with your plan for 2017, and you'll be fired up when you leave, ready for your best year ever. And finally, community inspiration. This experience is tailored for those who thrive on brainstorming and face-to-face feedback in a room full of highly motivated peers. You'll find immediate accountability and inspiration among your best year ever cohorts. Plus, the connections you make during this event are going to serve you all year long, accelerating your progress and providing a source of ongoing support as you make your goals a reality. So if you want personal coaching from me and from my team, if you want to fast track your results, and if you want to learn alongside other highly motivated achievers, then Best Year Ever Live is the course for you. Plus, Best Year Ever Live comes with 3 incredible bonuses, and I want to tell you about these quickly. First is the Powerful Goals Playbook, 120 proven goal-setting templates to jumpstart your progress. If you want to get your goals on paper fast so you can actually start achieving them, this goal-setting resource is all the solution you need. These proven goal formulas are designed to help you quickly state inspiring goals that'll get you moving towards your best year ever. With fill-in-the-blank options for over 100 specific action items or goals, you'll have your goals on paper in no time. Plus, these proven formulas have been specifically crafted to ensure that your goals align with the latest goal setting and goal attainment research. They're your no-fail shortcut to creating exciting, inspiring, achievement-oriented goals that'll keep you energized all year long. Plus, you can adapt them to your specific goals in a matter of minutes. It's an incredible resource. You'll also get the Stay on Track system, which is a 3-part mini course designed to keep you focused all year long. This course will teach you how to sustain your ambitions for a year's time, and it's comprised of 3 teaching videos and accompanying resources. The Stay on Track system is perfect for anyone, and let's be honest, this is all of us, who are quick to start but experience a loss of interest during follow-through. In video number 1, I'm going to talk to you about how to create your own personal, customized goal review process so you don't lose visibility of the goals as the year wears on. Second video, how to translate goals into next steps. This is really a primer on execution. What does it take to keep moving forward and incrementally achieve your goal? And then third, an inside look at my goal tracking system. And I'll show you in a screencast exactly how I set my entire system up. So you can stay motivated and continue achieving your goals one step at a time with this three-part framework. Finally, with the live edition, you'll also receive access to our private Best Year Ever Facebook group, which is valued at $997. The fact of the matter is that accountability and camaraderie are two of the biggest factors that contribute to massive success and goal achievement. And in this Facebook group, you'll have immediate access to a thriving community of like-minded achievers who are after big things like you in 2017. And you'll also receive hands-on coaching from me, from my team, and from our alumni who are back in there. All year long, we'll encourage and motivate each other, plus tackle our toughest obstacles and challenges together. It's an incredible resource, and it's helped hundreds of people celebrate and achieve their most important goals. And I'd love to see you there. So again, it's all yours with the Best Year Ever Live Edition. You get the 5 course modules, the audio downloads of each lesson video, complete course transcripts, a downloadable workbook and action plan, the 30-day money-back guarantee, the Powerful Goals Playbook, a $97 value, the Stay on Track video system, $147 value, access to the private Facebook group, a $997 value, plus a VIP ticket to the live event in Nashville, Tennessee on January 4th and 5th. If you're truly after an elite experience, if you want to edge, one designed to help you go further, faster, Best Year Ever Live is for you. But again, you're going to need to move quickly because we have a limited number of spots and this is filling up quickly. And it's available to you for one easy payment of just $897. That includes the live event plus all the content in the course and the bonuses. Now, if you're unable to make the trip to Nashville, I get it, which is also why we're offering the VIP edition. And this will go very quickly here because we've already outlined everything in the live edition. This edition includes everything in Best Year Live with the exception of course, the live event. It includes all the bonuses, as you can see here, and it's still going to give you a guided experience through your Best Year Ever, including the year-round accountability and the hands-on coaching in our VIP Facebook group. This edition is available for a single, easy payment of $397. And to ensure that Best Year Ever is accessible on any budget, we're also offering the Independent Study Edition. This is our most economical option. You forego the bonuses and the coaching, and of course the live event, but you'll still be able to achieve astounding results with the core course content. The Independent Study Edition is available for a single, easy payment of just $197. So, which edition is right for you? Well, I would envision yourself about to take a road trip. If you're the kind of person who can confidently stay the course once you have a roadmap, then the independent study option might be right for you. But if you're the kind of person who would rather have the benefit of a guide or a GPS system keeping you on track during your entire journey, then select the Best Year Ever Live or VIP options. Whichever edition you choose, you'll reach the end of 2017 with an unprecedented sense of success and accomplishment because you've truly had your best year ever. Now, I know that for many of you, you may not have invested in yourself like this before, but the truth is that this course has produced dramatic results for thousands of other customers, and I'm confident it'll work for you. Just think about the amount of money you spent in the past for something like a diet program or a gym membership that went unused, or maybe you spent on a marriage retreat or even counseling to repair a neglected relationship. What would you be willing to invest for personal coaching, for this kind of help to ensure that those aspirations finally become a reality this next year? The bottom line is that this course and your future are absolutely worth the investment. Again, you can get 5 days to your best year ever for just one easy payment of either $197, $397, or $897, depending on which edition you choose. But there's a catch, and you can see it on the screen in front of you. I only open public enrollment for Best Year Ever once a year, and the enrollment period closes at midnight Pacific Standard Time on December the 15th. You've only got a short window available to join us. This is your chance to make 2017 your best year ever. Just go to bestyearever.me/join to register. It takes a few minutes is all. Now, you joined this webinar today because you've got important, life-changing goals for this year. And I want you to know that I believe in you. You really do have what it takes to live the life you've dreamed of and change your family, your company, your health, or even your part of the world for the better by fulfilling your potential. But if you're not careful, years can fly by while you're busy trying to figure it all out, while keeping up with the busy demands of life. And that's why so many people put their dreams on hold and they carry major goals with them from year to year and never actually accomplish the things they dream of. But that doesn't have to be you. A year from now, your life could be dramatically different. You could be enjoying your best health ever, better relationships, business success, financial soundness, and personal fulfillment like you've never experienced it before, but only if you enroll in this course. The bottom line is that coaching helps you go further faster. I've walked this road before and I can guide you along the way, but only if you take advantage of this course right now. And I am so convinced that this course is exactly what you need to achieve your best year ever that I also offer an ironclad money back guarantee. And here's what it says. My best year ever course comes with a 30-day money back guarantee. If you purchase this course today and don't agree that it's worth every penny I said it was, just send me an email at support@bestyearever.me. I will promptly refund your money. No questions asked, no hassle. You have my word on it. In other words, this is a risk-free purchase. It's a no-brainer. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Again, registration for Best Year Ever is only available for a limited time. We'll close the doors at 11:59 Pacific Standard Time on December the 15th so we can focus on the cohort that's joining us this year. And after that, you'll have to wait an entire year for your next chance to join when we open enrollment to the public for 2018. Do you really have a year to waste waiting? I know I don't. So head on over to bestyearever.me/join to register. Registration is quick and easy. This is what the page looks like. It'll take you less than 2 minutes to enroll, and then you'll have immediate access to the content, and you'll be on your way to your best year ever in 2017. So again, head over to bestyearever.me/register to claim your spot. By the way, one last thing before we get to the Q&A. If you order before this webinar ends, and we still have the Q&A to go, so you've got time, I'll give you my incredibly powerful Evernote goal tracking system for free. As we discussed back in step 7, it doesn't matter how big or important a goal is. If you don't review it, it's going to fade from memory. What that means is that we need an intentional, regular review process for our goals. And this is my customized solution for tracking your goals all year long using my favorite free tool, Evernote. You'll get with it an importable Evernote template and a screencast from me where I'll walk you through 4 click-by-click steps to set up your own goal progress tracking system, or GPS. It'll allow you to easily keep your goals visible all year long and dramatically improve your results. Now, the deadline for this powerful bonus has already passed, but I'm making it available one more time exclusively for those who purchase during this webinar and before it ends. Remember, you've got to register before we finish the Q&A, which we're going to do in just a minute. Now, if you remember back at the beginning of the webinar, I promised you a bonus just for staying on, and I want to give that to you. It's my 2 favorite resources for extraordinary health in 2017, and you can download both of these free at bestyearever.me/health. You don't have to do it right now. These will be available for a few days, but write down the URL so you can get this. Now, today we reviewed 7 steps to take control of 2017, but I want to let you in on a secret 8th step. Get the help you need to win with your goals. I don't know why we feel the need to go it alone when it comes to goal setting, because after all, a goal represents new ground, new territory, which by necessity means that you won't know how to traverse it. Sometimes All we need to overcome the resistance is a helping hand. And today, I want to encourage you to believe in yourself enough to make this investment in your future and get, finally, the help you need to win big. Again, I certainly believe in you. I believe you really can have your best year ever in 2017. And I would be honored to help you make it happen. So go to bestyearever.me/join to register. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Mandy. I'm going to turn on my own video here. Turn it back over to Mandy to lead us in our Q&A. Hey, Mandy.
Hey, Michael, how you doing?
A little out of breath and a little thirsty, but other than that, awesome. How about
Well, that
that?
would be why. There you are. How are you?
Good. Listen, this is like the first one of these where we've had technical glitches, but I have to admit that last one was user error.
Well, I think after this many webinars, we're all allowed a little user error here. Man, it has been fantastic. And this audience is amazing. We had so many encouraging remarks come in during that little technical glitch. So thank you guys for hanging with us. And Michael, I cannot tell you how much great feedback we've been getting about today's webinar. Everybody seems to be loving it.
Fantastic. That delights me. That's what I was after.
All right, you're specifically going to love this comment from Angela. Angela says, "This has been amazing. Thank you so much for the time you took to share a great process with us. I have struggled with procrastination and overwhelm and overanalyzing, and I'm hoping to finally move forward. So thank you for giving me a roadmap."
Awesome. Thank you, Angela.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
I also love Melinda, who wrote it and said, "Thanks, this really resonated with me. It's a little bit like looking in a mirror listening to this webinar."
Well, perfect. Because sometimes we need to look in the mirror.
Yes, definitely. Well, as I mentioned, it's been a great presentation. We've all enjoyed it. And there are questions flooding in so fast that I can barely keep up with them. So I want to dig in and get to as many as we can. But first, I thought we might give away a prize or two. What do you think?
I love that idea. This is one of my favorite parts of the webinar when we give away these studies. So terrific. Let's do it.
Best part of any webinar, giving away the free stuff. So congratulations to Dustin Saucier, who shared your post. Dustin, you have won free VIP access to Best Year Ever. Congratulations also to Tammy Feller Robertson. Tammy commented on that post, and we asked, what would it make possible for you if you could achieve your most important goals this year? And here was Tammy's response. She said, "I will be able to, as a single mom, provide the kind of life for my children that I desire. A big goal being paying for their college education and being able to travel together as a family."
Awesome, Tammy. Terrific.
Isn't that remarkable?
Yep.
And I feel like those are such amazing goals to be able to provide that quality of life for your kids. And we had so many other folks writing in with goals like being able to write books and being able to launch businesses and being able to grow nonprofits. And these are such worthy goals. And so I hope Michael's presentation has helped you know how to achieve those. And he's got some answers to your questions that are going to help you do that even more. So Michael, you ready to dig in here?
Let's do it. Let's do as many as we can.
Let's do it. All right. I love this question that came in from Angela because I think we've all struggled with competing priorities before. And Angela says, "How do you recommend determining what is truly the top priority when there are so many things fighting for your time?"
Yeah, that's where I think the life score assessment is tremendously helpful because it'll help you to identify the domains in life based on your own self-assessment where you think you need the most work. So certainly all those domains are important, but you're probably doing better than you think in some of them, and they don't really need your attention in 2017. But there's probably other areas that if you don't attend to, they're going to derail everything else. And one of the big ones for me every year is health, because it's kind of like when you fly in an airline and the flight attendant says that in the unlikely event that the cabin is depressurized, oxygen masks will pop out of the ceiling. Make sure you affix it to yourself first before you attempt to help anybody else. So if something happens catastrophic with your own health, you're not going to be available. You're not going to be able to help anybody else. So health is always at the top of my list. But again, the life score assessment will help you identify those areas that need your attention.
That's great, Michael. And you know, Tammy, who just won our Facebook contest, wrote in and said, "Oh my gosh, thank you. I am crying. You have no idea." Isn't that amazing?
That's fantastic. I can't wait to see her inside the Facebook group.
Well, congratulations again, Tammy. We can't wait to journey with you through those goals this year. All right, Michael, more questions here. Really great one from Tega, who wrote in asking about habit goals in particular. Tega said, "How do continuous goals fit into picking only 2 or 3 goals for each quarter?" So for example, if I have a goal to work out regularly, which would need to happen year round, how do I focus on that in just one quarter?
Yeah, here's the cool thing about it. Um, I use habit goals for a specific duration. Now, I know a lot of people say that you can install a habit in 21 days. That's largely been debunked by the scientific community because we know on average it takes about 66 days. So almost three times, more than three times as long to install a habit. Some of them take even longer than that. But here's the deal once you've installed the habit so that it's subconscious and it's second nature, it can come off your goal. So when I have a habit goal, like I'm going to go to the gym so many times a week or whatever, then once it's installed and once I feel confident that I'm being consistent, then I check it off and remove it from my list. So it doesn't have to be there all year long, even though you'll probably observe the habit all year long. That makes sense?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense, Michael. And I think that narrow focus is so helpful because sometimes we have all these goals and all these habits we want to implement and pursue all year long, but we're giving a little tiny bit of focus to all of them and we never actually win with them. So if we would pick
That's right.
just one to give our attention to, we would have better results, which is truly awesome. Now, Michael, we've got a lot of questions flooding in about the Best Year Ever goal setting course. One of our anonymous viewers wrote in and asked, do you actually get CDs and DVDs with this course, or is this an online program?
Yeah, this is an online program. It's delivered exclusively. I mean, we got discs up here on the screen, so that's probably a little bit confusing, but we're just trying to help you visualize the value of what you're getting. But it's all delivered digitally. And here's what that means it means that there are no shipping costs. You don't have to wait. You know, when I get convinced of something like this, I'm ready to go. I want to start today. And guess what? You can because it's all ready. It's all available, including all the bonuses for the VIP and the live edition. They're inside the course site. All you've got to do is register. That'll take you about 2 minutes. You'll wait for an email from us with your credentials, and bam, you could be working on this today.
I love that, Michael. That's true. And on these webinars, we always get a question from our international viewers. We have folks who participate in the course all over the world, and they're always concerned about those shipping costs. So that's another great thing about the product being fully digital. No matter where you are in the world, you're not going to get hit with shipping charges, and you've got access immediately. You just need an internet connection.
Exactly. And by the way, we have inside the course right now, my staff gave this to me earlier this week, and maybe more by now, but we have people from 52 countries that have registered just for the VIP edition. That's not counting independent study or live, but just the people that are inside the private Facebook group, 52 different countries.
That's awesome. I love it. Michael, we just heard from our other Facebook winner, Dustin, who said, thank you all so very much. I'm absolutely speechless and jumping for joy. Man, we're excited to get to do goals with these folks this year.
I can't wait to meet these guys inside the Facebook group.
It's going to be awesome. All right. Lots of questions coming in about these bonuses. James asks, is there any way that I can buy that goals playbook by itself?
No, you can't.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, and there's probably a psychology associated with that. Just saying. But yeah, we have tried to make the bonuses to give you tools and resources to make the whole goal setting process easier and faster. And so we pretty much know, with 17,000 students having gone through the course, we know where people get stuck. And so what we try to do is to remove the barriers, make it easier and faster than ever before. And those bonuses are really designed to do that.
awesome, Michael. Now, lots of questions coming in about the Evernote bonus too from folks who have just joined the program and they're saying, all right, I'm in. Where can we find that Evernote tool for tracking goals? That one came from Dragomir, which is the best name ever.
That is a great name. Love that. Okay, so Dragomir, here's where you're going to find those. Inside the course site, which, by the way, is completely redesigned for this year. So we introduced a new platform. It's so cool. First of all, it's beautiful. And I can say that because I had nothing to do with it. My team did this. But we've got a progress meter that shows you exactly where you're at in the course, and it moves every time you complete one of the modules. We have quizzes after each lesson, which are really fun, but just for you to test your own comprehension of what I presented. And you get a grade point average that's tracked in the sidebar as well. And all the bonuses and everything else are delivered right there. So in the top menu navigation, you're going to see the main menus, and then you're going to see the bonuses. And if you do VIP, well, first of all, any edition, you're going to see the Evernote bonus there. But if you do VIP or you do live, you're going to see all these bonuses that you see on the screen. And one last thing you get, just mentioning the course site, is when you complete the 5 modules, you're going to get your very own personalized certificate of completion. So you can hang it on the wall and feel good about having completed it. Now, for those of you that are achievers, people that like to check things off lists, that's going to feel great. You can't do much with it, but it feels great.
That's absolutely true. We have been getting rave reviews about the new course site this year. Folks are just having so much fun with it. For those who love checking things off the list, feeling that sense of accomplishment, you write something down just to have the pleasure of crossing it off, even if you've already done it. I know you.
You know
I'm
who you
like
are.
that too. And so being able to have these progress meters and it's just constantly tracking and letting you know when you've accomplished something is so energizing. Now, Michael, I'm getting such an interesting report from our director of customer experience behind the team. We've never had this happen before. So we have so many people flooding into the course site right now, trying to access that amazing Evernote goal tracking bonus that there's actually a delay on our server and they're not getting it immediately the way they normally would, which is incredible. So she just asked me to assure you guys that you will absolutely have that Evernote bonus at some time today. So if you're seeing a little bit of a delay, it's just because there are so many people flooding in right now, but you'll still have access to all the course materials and that bonus today. So if you are getting a slight delay, that's why, which is awesome. I love seeing all these people flooding into the course, don't you, Michael?
I do. And thank you in advance for your patience because
Yes.
we've never had as big a class as we're going to have this year with so many people flooding into it. The demand has been unprecedented. And I think, just if I can wax, like somebody said, wax elephants for a second. Um, I think it's largely because, at least in the U.S. and maybe even abroad, we've gone through this very tumultuous time with the U.S. election, and it's felt like to many of us, maybe all of us, that things are kind of out of control. And we've got that settled, and I think people are now wanting to turn the page and get on to the next chapter and get back to what they have control over and what they've got influence over, which is their own lives. And
Mm.
Best Year Ever is designed to help you do that. So don't be distracted by all that noise that is in your circle of concern. Really focus on what you have control over, and that's your future.
That's awesome, Michael. Now, I think this is a great segue because we got a fantastic question from Tracy about goals that feel outside of your control and what you should do to pursue those.
Hmm.
Tracy asked, what if my goal is to sell and it's really up to the customer whether they say yes or no? What can I do?
Yeah, that's really important because a lot of times somebody else on the other end of the transaction is going to determine whether you're successful or not. So what you've got to do is focus on the things that you do have control over. So the number of calls you make, the quality of your presentation. I'm making this up because I don't know your specific sales process, but the quality of the presentation, how much information you know about the prospect. All those are things that you can really dig into, and they may not determine conclusively the outcome, but they will definitely influence the outcome. The better you take control of those, the more likely you are to succeed.
That's awesome, Michael. Now, one more really important question here, because I think we've all experienced the cynicism of having failed before and trying to come at it
Hmm.
again. And this one came in from Olajid. Olajid said, I have set goals before, but I have hardly ever gotten them accomplished. So what should I do? Should I try again?
Absolutely. I mean, oh, you would expect me to say that, but I'll just say this. It's like that Wayne Gretzky quote, the hockey player that I quoted at the very beginning. And that
Mm,
is that you're going to miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Did I quote that right, Mandy?
that's true.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're gonna miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So the safest thing you can possibly do, if you want to stay in your comfort zone, if you don't want to change anything, if you're happy with the status quo, if you're happy with your health, you're happy with your most important relationships, you're happy with your career, don't set any goals. Why bother? But if you want a different reality, here's the deal. You're not going to drift into it. The likelihood of you winning the lottery next year in your health or in your most important relationships or at work or in your money, extremely unlikely. So if you're not content with where you're at, if you want more, if you sense in your heart there's more potential in any of those areas, then you've got to have a plan and you owe it to yourself. In fact, I would say you owe it to the rest of us to reach your potential, to set goals and to strive. The thing about Best Year Ever is we can help you actually accomplish those goals because we know that traditional goal setting doesn't work. That's why you failed. But again, it's not your fault. It's just a broken system. We've got the right system. It's a proven system, and it'll help you get to the destination you choose.
Man, that is such good stuff, Michael. We're still getting so much great feedback. Tracy, who asked the question about selling to customers, just wrote in and said, "I really enjoyed Michael's answer to my question. Makes total sense." Folks are absolutely loving this
Good.
Q&A. So, Michael, even though our timer is about to expire here, I think I'm going to sneak in a few more questions. If you've got some time to hang with us and answer a few more, we've got.
Absolutely. I
Oh, I
love them.
love that. We've got thousands of people still on the line and
I
asking them.
know.
So we're going to sneak in a few more. But for those who need to go, we want to make sure we honor everybody's time. So for any who are on the fence about whether or not they should set goals this year and whether Best Year Ever in particular is right for them, do you have some final thoughts for those folks who need to slip out?
Yeah, I do. And it kind of goes back to what I just said. Are you discontent a little bit? Are you maybe frustrated in some area of your life? Um, do you sense that you're capable of more or you just want more? And you're not content to just drift through life hoping that you reach a better destination. Because here's the truth, nobody ever drifted to a destination they would have chosen. Just doesn't happen. But if you're willing to do something different, if you're willing to make, I think, a relatively small investment in yourself and in your future to guarantee that you've got a higher probability of achieving those results, then you absolutely must sign up for Best Year Ever. Now, let me just tell you something. It may feel like I'm selling, but I'm not selling. I'm preaching. I'm telling you that you have got to do this. I am committed to 1 million people eventually going through Best Year Ever because I get frustrated seeing people that are not making progress and settling for less in their health, for less in their relationships, for less in their work, for less in their finances. I want to give you the tools to optimize your results and become all that God created you to be. But you've got to act. The ball's in your court. You know, at the end of the day, I can't decide for you. You've got to decide you want a better future. And I've learned the hard way that I can't want it for you worse than you want it for yourself. But if you want it, I'm here to help. I can help guide the process, and I'd be honored to do that. And I hope that you'll take a chance on yourself, not me. Take a chance on yourself. And I would say this, what do you got to lose? I've said it before, but there's a 30-day money back guarantee. If you wake up tomorrow morning and say, oh my gosh, what have I done? I fell under a spell. I ordered when I shouldn't have, and you want out of it, great. Send an email to support@bestyearever.me. We will promptly refund every penny, every amount of money that you spent on this. So you've got nothing to lose. So what's your excuse? Stop hesitating. Take action. You won't regret it, I promise.
Man, that is such great guidance, Michael. That is so energizing. I love it. And I love this piece of advice to folks to believe in themselves again, to give it one more shot and to trust themselves. And I absolutely love that. So, for those who need to slip off, we just want to thank you for joining us for today's webinar. We appreciate your time. We really want to encourage you to head on over to bestyearever.me/join to learn more about the course and enroll now. It is only available until 11:59 p.m. Pacific on December 15th. So, time is short and you really need to act now. So, again, we want to thank you for joining us for this webinar today. And we want to honor your time. If you need to sneak out, you are certainly welcome to do that. We hope you'll swing by bestyearever.me/join before you close out for the day. And for those thousands of you that are still with us and still firing off questions, we're going to hang in here and address a few more. And Michael, one of the ones that we're getting the most of right now, I've seen it fly in from 4 or 5 different viewers, and I can't even catch the names because they're coming so fast. But questions about that Evernote goal tracking bonus. So we've had folks asking if it's available with any edition or if it's only available for the VIP.
It's available for every edition, provided that you order before the end of this webinar. And I know your devices, girl. You're trying to drag this out as long as you can to give people a chance to order this before the webinar ends. So as long as you do
Yes.
that, and even though the clock's expired, I'm looking over here to another monitor, but the clock's expired, but we will timestamp your entry and compare it with when we end this webinar. And provided that you've ordered before the end of the webinar, boom, you're in. You'll get the Evernote bonus.
That's awesome. Yes, as Michael mentioned, our techie geniuses behind the scenes always timestamp when the webinar actually ends. So even though that clock has already expired, if you enroll while this Q&A is still going on, you'll still get that Evernote bonus that's going to help you track your goals all year long. It's such a powerful tool. I really want everyone to have it. So I'm going to sneak in as many more questions as Michael will tell right here to give you some extra time to get registered. So you guys head on over to bestdriver.me/join while we're still talking, and you will grab your copy there. Now, Michael, you talked earlier, as you were kind of sharing some final thoughts for those who needed to slip out, about how important it is to try again and how scary that can be. And it leads me into this question from Tara about quitting sometimes. And
Mm.
Tara says, how do you know when it's time to give up on an old dream or a goal that hasn't succeeded and search for a new one? Is it ever right to walk away from a goal?
Yeah, I think it is. I think there are times when in the pursuit of a goal, you just realize that this isn't the season, and it might be as simple as that. It may not be the right season. But what I more often see, that's rare. What I more
Mhm.
often see is people giving up way before the whistle blows and walking off the field, and that's a guaranteed way to lose. If you quit before the whistle blows, so many games are won in the final few seconds. I mean, even the World Series, which I'm not a baseball guy, but even I watched the last game of the World Series, and to see the Cubs come through on that in
Mhm.
overtime in the what was it, the 10th inning?
Yes.
And it would have been easy for them to give up earlier in the week when they were a couple games behind and just say, look, all is lost. We're disheartened. There's not even any sense in playing anymore. And they could have given up, but they stayed in the game till the last second and they won it. And that's so often the case. I've written on this on my blog before, but so many people, I see this over and over again, people quitting right before they hit the inflection point, the point that everything changes. And so I think that usually persistence and tenacity are essential. You need to be willing to, stay in the race, keep putting one foot in front of the other. And, if you have to quit eventually, quit. But for most of us, we quit too soon.
That's absolutely true, Michael. Now, we're getting lots and lots of questions about the different forms of accountability. Lots of folks writing in asking,
Mm.
how important is accountability? Where can I find accountability? And I love this question from Mari about our VIP group because it's very direct. And I think a lot of people are probably wondering it. Mari says, I don't understand how being a part of a private Facebook group is going to afford me with personal coaching. I'm specifically looking for accountability. So, would this help me with that?
Well, it definitely would. Because first of all, you can post, I had a hard time saying that. You could post in the group
Hmm.
and you can ask for help. Like sometimes you need to resource something. Like right now, I can tell you what's happened in the Facebook group because I spent 2 hours this morning, starting at 5 o'clock, just answering questions. And there's a ton of questions right now. It's more than usual because we have a new cohort just starting. But a lot of the questions were questions about they needed further clarity. Sometimes we can see for other people what they can't see for themselves. And just asking for the group's input on whether they think this goal is in the delusion zone or the discomfort zone, or whether it's fine tuned enough, it's specific enough, or whether it should be stated as a habit goal or an attainment goal. All that stuff happens inside the group. Plus, one of the things you see spontaneously happening too is people forming their own smaller groups where there is
Hmm.
accountability. And accountability is one of those things that's absolutely essential. So that when you put yourself out there, I wouldn't say publicly, because I don't believe in that. And I tell you why in the course, but selectively to a group of like minded people and say, look, I need somebody in this group to hold me accountable, to ask me on a regular basis if I've done thus and so. People in that group will do it because they care. And we're all working together, not just to have our own best year ever, but to ensure that one another have their best year ever too. Does that help?
That is so helpful, Michael, and so true. We've seen so many members from within that VIP group who've joined up to form accountability groups. We've seen lots of people find just one accountability partner and they partner up with another VIP
Yep.
in that group. And I think for me, for folks who are kind of quit prone and you lose steam as you get going, you might start the year strong, but by month 3 or month 4, you're kind of starting to lose focus and haven't looked at those goals in a while. I I love there's almost an interruption factor with this VIP group because you're online and you're hanging out with Facebook anyway, and you're seeing all of this negativity. And then all of a sudden, bam, there's a post from the VIP group where someone's saying, "Hey, I have lost 4 more pounds this week. I'm on my way to achieving my weight loss goal." Or, "Oh my gosh, I submitted my first book proposal to a publisher." And you're seeing all of these accomplishments, and it reminds you that you have big dreams that are more important than the day to day busyness that you need to get
Mm.
back on track on. And I mean, really, it's just this reminder popping up on your phone. Hey, you've got big goals that you should be focusing back in on. And I love that about the VIP group.
Perfect. Yeah, it keeps it top of mind, and visibility is crucial as well as accountability.
Definitely. Well, Michael, we're also getting tons of questions about that Best Year Ever live event. I want to power through a few of those.
Okay.
Juliet asks, when and where is it happening?
Yeah, again, it's January 4th and 5th. So it'll be the evening of January the 4th. You'll be able to register from 5 to 7 in the afternoon, early evening. Then we'll start promptly at 7. It's here in Nashville, Tennessee. It's going to be downtown at the Hutton Hotel. And then the next morning on the 5th, we're going to start up at about 8:30 and we're going to go all day long. So you'll be able to fly out if you can get a flight that evening. You'll be able to fly out the evening of the 5th or the morning of the 6th. But either way, it's a day and a half, Nashville, Tennessee.
Absolutely love that. Now, I love this question from Jake because we actually haven't gotten this one about the live event before. Jake said, Michael said earlier in the presentation that the only difference between live and VIP was that ticket to the live event. But online, I'm also seeing that there is a special Best Year Ever notebook at the live event. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we've got this workbook that people use as they go through the course. That's available to everybody, even the base or independent study people will get that. So all it's going to be for the live event is a slightly customized version of that. So yeah, it's just going to be basically a notebook where you can take notes as I present, and then there's going to be exercises that you're going to work through individually, and then we're going to put you in small groups. We've got this designed really as an experience, and the notebook is going to be the guidebook that takes us through that.
That's awesome. It really is going to be such an incredible event, and we're so excited for it. And the Hutton Hotel that Michael just mentioned is such a beautiful property. And so we're
It
really
is.
committed to making sure that this is experientially just amazing, that you're going to be immersed in this beautiful surrounding and get all of your goals laid out in just 2 days. We had someone write in who said it was a difficult year for them last year. I've lost it
Mm.
in the thread of questions here, but said, I have been a primary caretaker for a loved one who was sick. It's been a really draining year, and I'm kind of wondering if this course is going to overwhelm me. Um, so, do you want to speak to that a little bit, Michael?
Yeah, first of all, I have a lot of empathy for that
Hmm.
because we've all probably gone through difficult periods. I went through a business failure in the early 90s. I remember back when Gail lost her parents over the couple year period, and those are setbacks. It's inevitable, and it's sometimes hard to dream again or to get refocused on our own lives and what's possible. And sometimes it feels like things are out of control and we have no agency. The first 2 days of 5 days to your best year ever are designed to get that back. So in day one of the things we do is talk about the possibility.
Hmm.
That you may not believe it at the moment you come into the course, but a different future is really possible. Your past does not equal your future. And I'll convince you of that in the first video. Then, in addition to that, we'll talk about limiting beliefs. And somebody said, well, once I confront my limiting beliefs, am I done? Am I good for life? No, I attract these. Like every year, I have to confront my limiting beliefs. I have different limiting beliefs, thankfully, than I had 5 years ago, but I still face limiting beliefs. And especially when you have trauma, especially when you have difficult things happen, you're going to find that those limiting beliefs are going to just spontaneously creep up. And they're limiting beliefs and they're so powerful because they're unconscious. But we'll unpack those in day one. Then in day two, and this is particularly powerful for somebody that's gone through something difficult, we're going to close the chapter on the past. We're going to complete the past. Now, we're not going to do a deep dive into your childhood. I'm not a psychotherapist. If you need one of those, awesome, but I'm not your guy. But we are going to walk through the difficult things of this last year and make sure that you're at peace with them and completed them so that you don't drag them into 2017 and they inadvertently, usually subconsciously, derail what you're trying to create in 2017. So that's how we deal with it.
That's awesome, Michael. I love that. And for folks who are worried about the course being overwhelming, I think another one of my favorite facets of the course is that it's relatively short and so easy to get through. We hear all the time from our students that this is the first online course I've ever purchased that I actually managed to finish because you condense it down and distill it down into just what matters and what's actionable. And so literally they can do it in a half day. In one
Yep.
half day session, they can do the entire course or do 30 minutes a day for 5 days, and then you're done and you're off and you're on to your best year ever. I mean, it really is fantastic in that way.
Yep. I agree.
Well, Michael, we have got so many people still on the line, so many questions flooding in. And I think I want to sneak in just a final one or two before we wrap it up here. But
Okay.
first, I really want to welcome some folks who have just joined us for the 2017 class of Best Year Ever. So, welcome especially to Michael Turley and John Johnston's Jay Bailey and Steve Sedera, who are all joining us in Nashville for the live event.
Yay.
It's going to be amazing. We can't wait to see you guys there. Congratulations also to Mikhail and Madeline and Jennifer and Daryl and Stacy and David, Angela, Raina, Deborah, Jim, Ryan, Nicholas, Arda, Lars, and Shannon, who are all joining us inside the course. Guys, just congratulations. We are so happy that you are going to go after some big goals in 2017. Michael, I know that's what you care the most about is just seeing people win in their personal
I
life and win
do.
at work.
And I love to see people making that commitment to a different future and to themselves and to their loved ones. There's nothing I enjoy more than that.
That's so awesome, Michael. Well, two final quick questions here, and
Okay.
then we're going to bring this thing to an official close. I love this one from Brian, very practical. He asked, would using an online app like Evernote or Trello count as writing down my goal, or is handwriting a goal better?
There's a lot of research that shows real value in handwriting a goal. So if you like that, in fact, I just got this book. I got to show this to you. So I just got this book in the mail. I can't wait to start it, called The Revenge of Analog, Real Things and Why They Matter.
That's a great
And
title.
it's a book. It's not a digital book. I thought about ordering it on Kindle, but I thought that would be kind of ironic.
Too
Uh,
ironic, yes.
but but yes, I think there's value in writing it down. Now, true confession, that's not how I do it. I do mine digitally because I'm just sort of a digital guy. So I have my goals in software and I detail exactly what I use in the course, but you can do it either way. Whatever makes sense for you.
That's awesome, Michael. All right. Well, I wanted to make room for this one last question because I think so many of us struggle with these intense feelings of fear when we think
Mm.
about trying again, or especially trying for something big that we've never succeeded at before. And we had an anonymous viewer on this webinar write in and say, what should I do if I just don't have the courage to set really meaningful goals?
Yeah, I think it's important to understand the difference between courage and confidence. And I got this insight from one of my mentors, Dan Sullivan. And here's the difference because they look exactly the same on the outside. And we think, oh my gosh, there's all these people around me that they seem to be confident, they seem to be jumping in things. But here's the deal, they feel very different on the inside. When you're acting in courage, it's usually because you're scared to death. You're just willing to take the next step. That's the only thing that's different. When you're confident, you don't feel that fear. But when you have courage, you feel the fear and you act in spite of the courage. The secret to progress in life is to train yourself to be courageous. If you sit around waiting for the fear to dissipate, you know what's going to happen? The fear is not going to dissipate. In fact, let me tell you this, the fear will get bigger, scarier, more gnarly than you can imagine. That's how to feed a fear and let it disable you.
Hmm.
But if you'll step in the direction of the fear, it'll dissipate because most of it's an illusion. How many times have you had that conversation with somebody or set an appointment with somebody or tried that thing you've never tried before and you go, what? This really wasn't that hard. I built this thing up to be this big thing in my mind. And when I finally tackled it, it was like nothing. It was like an illusion. So do it scared. Don't wait for the fear to dissipate. The people that get the biggest results in Best Year Ever, they're not smarter than you are. They're not more courageous than you are. They don't have more experience. They're just willing to do it scared. They're willing to try something because they want a different result. They're sick and tired of the results they've been getting, and they want a different result. And therefore, that why, connecting with your why, which we do on day 4, gives you a reason to punch through the fear. And I can't remember who said it. I just read it this week. It might have been Winston Churchill or Kenneth Blanchard, worlds apart, I know. But somebody said, everything you want is on the other side
Mhm.
of fear.
Absolutely so. Man, Michael, I absolutely love that. And I think that's such an important message for so many of us right now in this moment is that the people who accomplish what they really want in life are the ones who have learned to do it scared, to
Yep.
not wait
Totally.
until those feelings of fear disappear, but to do it anyway. And I absolutely love that guidance. And Michael, we have had so many positive comments come in about this webinar and this Q&A time in particular. I love what Mike wrote in. He said, "This is exactly what I needed for inspiration with my
Mm.
24/7 brain on fire, but not actually going anywhere state." So thank you so much.
That's terrific.
Isn't that really amazing?
Yes,
So,
sir.
Michael, I just want to thank you so much for your time today, for presenting this content to us, and for staying with us throughout this Q&A. It has really been so incredibly
Mm.
valuable.
You bet. Thanks for hosting this.
Oh, I'm so glad to. Now, Michael, for those who have stayed with us, we've got almost 1,000 people still on the line with us, still hanging out and listening. Do you have any final thoughts for those folks who are still here?
Yeah, I would just say this. Why haven't you acted yet? That may be a reason why you're not getting what you want in life. Because every time you have an opportunity, you hesitate. And I'm not saying you should like jump into everything with both feet, not think it through, but I'm just saying that isn't it time? I mean, you went to the trouble to register for this webinar. You went to the trouble to show up. You stayed on it till the bitter end. What more do you need to convince you to invest in your own life? I think I've done everything I can to try to convince you that you're worth the investment and you really can make a difference in every major area of your life in this next year. But now it's up to you. This is one of those cases where there's a door, but the knob is only on the inside. I can't open it for you. The knob is on the inside. Only you can step through it. And I want to encourage you to do it. And to switch the metaphor, leap, because there is a net. Some people say leap and the net will appear, but there's a net. It's the 30-day money back guarantee. So I would just say act. This is the time when everything changes. Take that all important first step and just see what a difference this could make in your life. I think not only will you get results, but you'll get addicted to the process because you're going to learn essentially a technology, a system for making change in your life, for making rapid change in your life, and for getting more of what you want in your life. Not because it's just for you, but so you can be more useful and make a bigger contribution in the world.
Man, that's really amazing and inspiring, Michael. Well, I just want to say thank you one more time for being with us today. This has been so incredibly helpful.
Absolutely.
We all appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I also want to say a special thank you to our team that's supporting us behind the scenes, that's chatting with you guys, answering your questions. They are the magic makers, and we could not do any of this without them. And of course, I want to thank all of you guys for joining us for today's webinar. We know how busy you are. We hope that this has been tremendously valuable. We don't take it lightly that you've spent your time with us today. And so I just want to thank you for being here. And I also want to say that we would love to serve each and every one of you inside the 2017 edition of Best Year Ever. Michael has laid out a clear path that is going to help you get clear on what you want and go after it all year long. And as he mentioned just a moment ago, your aspirations matter too much for you to leave them undone for another year. Now, Best Year Ever is only available until 11:59 Pacific on December 15th. So time is incredibly short. Do not wait. We're going to be off to the races and pursuing our best year ever very soon, and you won't have another opportunity to join us until next year. So if you're on the fence, jump down off the fence and go over to bestyearever.me/join now while the course is still available. And in these final moments of the webinar, you would still qualify for that amazing Evernote goal tracking bonus that we don't want you to miss out on. So if you've been waiting, don't hesitate anymore. Head on over to bestyearever.me/join, and we would love to journey with you as you pursue your most important aspirations in the new year. We know that you are absolutely able to do it, and we would love to help you. So thanks again for joining us for this webinar. We look forward to seeing all of you guys soon.
Thanks, guys.